You're listening to the Borderliners Podcast, where we interview peripheral characters from the fringes of Israeli society and show you a different side to life in the Holy Land. Subscribe using your favorite podcatcher or visit us online at borderlinerspod.com. And now, the interview.
Eli Schabes and Nina went to preschool together in Cleveland. Eli grew up in a family that borders on ultra-Orthodox, though clearly Eli has gone his own way, moving to Israel and living his best life, that of a musician. He supplemented his income by working gigs like cleaning out Nina's mother's storage locker. Now Eli has what he calls stable job as a graphic designer for a sketchy Jerusalem company that used to sell sex toys online. Introducing Eli Schabes.
Wow. What an introduction.
Yeah.
You guys hit it to the core.
Well, we like to
incredible.
Thank people for taking the insult of being interviewed on the podcast. So.
This is great, by the way. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. We're excited to have you.
We're big into corporate sounding introductions now. It's part of our sort of
that was like
rebranding, professionalism.
Yeah. I'd also like to clarify that the Jerusalem company is not actually sketchy at the moment. I think it was recovering. Sketchy recovering.
Yeah, I think that's what their marketing person said to say, right? It's not sketchy.
Our lawyers were.
And sex toys is a euphemism.
It's certainly not. No, we used to sell sex toys, but now we've gone down the straight and narrow. We saw the light, you know.
I think that could be a good jumping off point to Ali, because I think the main thing that we want to get to, I mean, we obviously have our own agenda. I'm sure you listened to the last episode where we got to the crux of Tayback, and after 40 minutes presenting herself as kind of a philanthropic person feeding cats, we ascertained that she's actually perpetuating a huge social problem in Jerusalem. So,
well,
I think that was a fair conclusion from the last episode.
Is that I did not catch? I did not catch that last episode. I didn't realize I had homework to do.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe you didn't catch it. We did so much marketing and push.
I understand.
A lot of people.
That was her thing. That was her intro.
She's a crazy cat lady. So basically, her intro was. Oh, let's see if I have it here. Oh, I happen to have it here. Her intro was.
Because I personally thought that was a rapper when I saw it. I was like Tabak, like maybe he's like.
Oh, that could be a good rap name.
But no, it's a cat
lady.
Basically,
she feeds and cares for like a lot of the cats in Jerusalem.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't believe she's part of the problem. I think she's part of the solution. But you know,
I'm thinking
there are those
Holocaust jokes there, but
yeah.
Unfortunately,
not the final solution.
Yeah, the overwhelming majority of listeners disagree with Neen, unfortunately. But Eli,
so
maybe let's just conjure up an image of you for those listeners who are around the world and they can't see you. So you're best known as the man wearing a mask playing gigs in an underground Russian bar in Jerusalem.
It's a niche. It's a niche, but
niche.
But I feel it. Yeah. I used to be in a rock band with two friends of mine. We were all short. And the question we got asked was, what makes your band different than every other band? And I was like, all the members are under 5'4".
Wow, you're under 5'4"?
I'm 5'3".
All
some
right.
change.
I too am under 5'4".
Mini kiss. That was.
Oh, that's funny.
I used to work with these guys, and they're like, "Man, you guys are like mini kiss." I'm like, "Yes." Without the money.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that one?
How did I feel? I thought it was funny.
Okay, good.
What are you gonna do? A midget is actually legally below 4'10".
Yeah.
So
I think it depends on the state.
Out of midget territory.
Depends on the state.
I think so. Some legal midget. I don't know. I've heard under 5 feet.
I understand.
In any event, whether you're a legal midget or not, I think the question that a lot of us are interested in knowing is exactly who you really are. Because as you said, everyone knows the Eli Schabes in front of the mask. Few people have dived deep and gotten to know the Eli Schabes behind the mask, and that's what we'd like to find out today.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
All right, you ready for your first question?
Yeah, is that the format? Is that how we're gonna? We're just gonna. It's just like we're shooting questions.
Shooting questions like shooting bullets.
Ba bam bam. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Call me John Wayne.
One of your recent creative outlets has been jamming on Facebook Live with your guitar, and you get lyric suggestions from your audience.
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize that you could freestyle singer / songwrite?
When did I realize that? It wasn't really a realization. It was just kind of a thing, I guess. I mean, I've been humming and singing my entire life, in the shower, on the way to school, things of that nature. But I mean, it was really actually, it was more so of like a test to see. First of all, going on Facebook Live can be very nerve-wracking. Okay, it's like this weird phenomenon where you're literally getting butterflies about like shooting a video on a small screen, right? And there's no one there, but everyone's there, and you're like, oh God, what if I act stupid on Facebook Live?
And then, of course, you do act stupid, which is great.
Yeah, and then you just do it, and then it does, people forget about it.
I think I caught you once on Facebook Live when I was on Facebook.
And did you enjoy it?
It's kind of dystopian, actually, when you're, because, when we used to live close together, so you were just up the road, but there was all the distance between us as if you were in, you could have been across the world, in fact.
I was in a basement.
You were in a basement.
I was in a pit. I did live in a pit for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'd seen that pit.
Hopefully you have your accommodation has improved.
I have windows.
Wow.
Yeah. We got windows. Although it was nice. It was nice because it was always cool. In the wintertime, it was warm. In the summertime, it was cool. But it was a
it was a roof over your head, most importantly.
And it was an old mikvah. That's what it used to be.
Oh, cool.
That was the whole
Not a cistern?
cistern mikvah.
Same diff.
Yeah.
Eli, maybe we could just back up for a moment and just get some basic outline out of the way, because before we get behind the mask and figure out why you're wearing a mask and do all that kind of stuff. So how do what brought you to Israel? How long have you been here, and where did you originally come from?
Dan, great questions.
Mm-hmm.
Where did
It's just basic groundwork.
I understand.
Psychological groundwork.
He went to journalism school, actually.
We're laying the foundations for later, deeper.
Ooh, wow. Okay, great. Okay, so I came to Israel at this point 6 years ago. I was living in Cleveland, Ohio, up until the age of 27. I came from, as you said, borderline ultra-Orthodox family. I like to say that my dad wears a charcoal hat, but we watched MTV. In any case, after yeshiva, I came back to Cleveland and kind of started doing my own thing. And played in like a bunch of, started going to this open mic night, and that was like the beginning of my musical journey, I guess. And met a bunch of people, met a lot of non-Jews. This is the first time I was hanging out with non-Jews. And then I joined this band that was on the west side of Cleveland. I'd never been to the west side of Cleveland. All the Jews were on the east side of Cleveland. And it was like this punk band. We used to play like Nirvana-esque grungy music. I was in that band for a while. Baffle Gab, you can check us on. I
think a lot of people talk about the west side of Cleveland's grunge scene. I think that's a known thing.
Certainly, they have good falafel. Yeah, no, it was. I suppose it was before grunge was cool. Is grunge cool now? I feel like it maybe is.
Goes through phases.
I don't know. I kind of felt I was like, oh man, Nirvana, really? But anyways, so I was in that band for like 4 years. And in the meantime, I was like, not really religious or observant, and so I was like playing gigs on Shabbat, and I'd have to sneak out and stay at friends' houses, and this and that, and then I had like my non-Jewish girlfriend as well,
a boyfriend is what we call it,
and she was great, and then that ended, and then I quit the band. And I was like, I was 27, and I was like, I don't know what the hell to do, man. I was like working as a manager in a medical supply warehouse, and it was good money, but it was Cleveland, Ohio, and it kind of was like a dead end. It felt like, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to New York or LA or Israel. And then I was talking to my dad, and I was like, I kind of just want to go to kibbutz. He's like, you should just go to a kibbutz.
Nice.
And I did. And then went to the kibbutz, post-aliyah, represent.
That's right. I went to Ein Hatziv.
Ah, you're right down the road.
Yeah, but not at the same time.
I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I got there, and I was supposed to be there for 3 months, and then they were like, we're ending the program after a month. I was there for a month. They're like, we're ending the program. Am I going on for too long?
No, this is interesting.
Okay.
Why? Yeah.
So I get there, and they're like, hey, after the first month, they're like, hey, by the way, we're ending the program, so you got to find something else to do. I'm like, I just flew like 6,000 miles to be here for the next 2 months. I was expecting to be there for like 7 months. And so I just stayed and I worked for 2 months. And then the lady who was in charge was like, "What are you doing next week?" Right? It was like the last one. I was like, "I think I'm going to stay." She's like, "It's not nice what you're doing."
What?
I was like, yeah, those were her exact words. "It's not nice." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll go then." And the next day I just picked up all my shit and I left. She's like, "You didn't have to leave so abruptly." I'm like, "F you."
Okay.
So
We don't curse on this podcast.
Nah, I cursed.
I'm just joking.
Okay.
We don't care.
In any case, so that's that. So then I lived with my friend in his basement for 6 months while I couldn't work legally. So I used to paint and then try to sell my paintings on Ben Yehuda.
What? I didn't know you paint.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did for a time. I still do, but I also
Yeah.
used to. Right? That's like a Mitch Hedberg joke. It's like I used to do drugs. I still do,
Just
but
still-
I used to.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, so I did that, and then I went back to America, got the free flight, and came back. Yeah, and why did I make Aliyah? Because I was like, well, what's the worst that can happen? B'tuach Leumi, and my kids have to do the army. That's about it. So
It's true.
it seemed like a pretty good bet.
Yeah.
And thus far, it's
And
been
still
pretty
having to pay taxes in the U.S.
good. Right, that's a thing. That is definitely a thing God
God bless America.
I've not neglected to do. If anyone
Yeah.
from the
Neither have I.
government is listening.
The IRS has been known to
Yeah.
wiretap the borderliners.
Yeah, I love how
podcast.
they care so much about taking taxes from someone who lives below the poverty line.
Yeah.
You're not paying taxes. Really?
Hey,
Gotta file.
let's just maybe go a bit further into your employment trajectory exactly, because where are you now? I mean, okay, let's not name the company, but you've kind of fallen into this. I don't know, like fallen in, maybe that's negative, but you've kind of transitioned, segued in, pivoted in. You could say you've pivoted into graphics design. So how did you get there, and what's up with this company that it was once selling sex toys online?
So
Is it it's a sex toy company, or it's that's not its
no, that would be
primary line
that
of
would be
business?
interesting.
Is
That'd
it
be
drop shipping?
maybe that's what the sex toys were, but it's a cosmetics company. It's in the cosmetics field. I won't get in too much detail. I legally am not allowed to. I signed a non-disclosure.
Precluded.
But I actually went to college for like a semester in graphic design, and then I quit. And then I did recording engineering, finished that, and then I didn't do much with that. But and then like I've always been interested in art and all that kind of jazz. And then I came to Israel, and I was doing all these odd jobs. I had a friend who hooked me up with one of these groups that they basically give you like a yomit, like they'll pay you 400. It was 400 shekels for a day. Back then, I don't think I'd do that anymore, but it was like 10 hours, 400 shekels.
Oh, wow.
And you would go someplace in bumblefuck Israel and do whatever the job was. So, like I wrote to you, like one time it was in Chulon, we were like the water boys for the Israeli basketball all-star game.
Oh, yeah.
And Shimon Peres was there. It was, I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't, never mind, I won't.
Israeli peace advocate.
Right, yeah.
Interesting. Sounds a lot more interesting than what I do on a day-to-day basis, I have to be honest with you.
I mean, it was yom. That's what they say at the gym. The old guys, I go to this gym, there's this guy named Rafi, and they're like, Rafi, echata. He's like, Baruch Hashem, yom.
I mean, that means taking life day by day, for those that are not clear.
Day, but day.
Yom,
But
day.
It's the only way, because however we want to describe it, but at the end of the day, we're all basically have sunk to a gritty life of subsistence in Israel.
Interesting.
I just feel like you're a bit more.
I mean,
you're a bit more.
I'm doing really well.
Yeah,
as a student.
I'm thriving. I recorded a podcast this morning, dissecting the latest B2B thought leadership research study by Edelman, positioning myself as a thought leader just because I'm thriving so much.
You're making me think right now, man.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, the idea with thought leadership is actually that you don't have to think. We'll think for you.
Oh, it's communism, you're saying?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea what thought leadership actually is. So
Thought leadership.
yeah,
Talking about bidets, though. You were talking about bidets?
Bidet.
Thoughts on
Bidet.
bidets? Anyways.
Bidet.
Thoughts? No thoughts? I think they're great.
Have you run out of material?
Well, did you want to ask this question?
No, we didn't run out of material.
No, we're absolutely not.
I
Haven't
think
run
this
out of
one
material.
is more up your alley.
Indeed. your musical output, Eli. So firstly, we need to discuss. You have a big upcoming gig.
It's huge.
Okay. You were saying this is like kind of some kind of a breakthrough for you.
It's definitely the first gig I've had in quite some time.
That's a breakthrough of sorts.
Yeah, it's just a normal gig at the same place that I usually play my gigs at Besarabia. We could talk about Besarabia.
Yeah,
We'd
I
love to
think
talk
we've
about
got some
Besarabia.
stories
We
about.
could segue into the underground, authentic underground Besarabia. That's their tagline.
Yeah, it's important. It's important also to point out because I don't think Besarabia is going to get any organic.
Is it Besarabia?
No one knows.
Besarabia?
Well, think about
I
how
assume
would
it's
a
called
Russian
Besarabia.
say it?
Besarabia? How would a Russian say it?
Yeah.
Besarabia.
You know what? Last time I was there, I actually asked them, and I don't remember what they said.
It's because it's probably like, Besarabia.
Besarabia is
Besarabia.
Besarabia.
I think it's Besarabia. Isn't Sarabia Siberia in Hebrew?
So Besarabia is actually
Like
a place.
Besarabia?
It's actually a place somewhere in that area.
Besarabia is a place,
Yeah.
or Sarabia?
Serbia is,
Yeah.
but also Besarabia is also like a place. It's like a former Soviet.
Stronghold.
I was
would
gonna
you
say stronghold, but I don't think so because we don't really none of us know what this place is, and
Yeah.
Oh.
Although we're American, we didn't get any education on
but
the world.
this although this is true. I mean, we know we're Ukraine,
Right.
Czechoslovakia, Poland, East Germany,
West Germany.
not West Germany. West Germany.
Oh,
was,
we're talking about Soviet.
Yeah, we're
Soviet.
talking-
Sorry, I didn't catch
I've been
that.
listening to the Gulag Archipelago.
Oh, Ben, thank you for your. Ben's our research assistant. We have him on
/ producer / recording
/ producers. Yeah, we just have two Bens on staff. One's the. We just pay. Oh, it's okay. So I can't say I know where it's pronounced. I know how it's pronounced by this, but it's a historical region in Eastern Europe.
Ooh.
Bounded by the Dniester River on the east and the Prut River on the west. About 2/3 of Besarabia lies within modern-day Moldova, with the Ukrainian Bujak region covering... Okay, this is so not interesting. Oh, although I've heard about the Oblast, something with the Oblast. I don't know. Thank you for your help,
It's
Ben.
it's a place.
Moldova is interesting. I'm sure they do some of that weird hostile-esque activity.
Yeah, have you heard that... never mind, I forgot what they're called.
What?
That
I'm fascinated.
the people that used to do pogroms.
Oh, the Cossacks.
Yeah, the Cossacks. There's a huge comeback, apparently.
Wonderful.
I know. I'm feeling great about.
Listen, that's where we
living
came
in this
from,
country.
Come on, look at our skin.
Yeah.
So Besarabia, however it's pronounced, it's this underground Russian bar in Jerusalem. And by underground doesn't mean that it's an underground bar. It's literally underground.
It's literally underground.
It's got. I'm surprised that place actually passes any kind. There must be some form of health and safety legislation in Hebrew. It's got no light. It's the most dystopian place. I'm a pretty.
He likes dystopia.
I like this. I
You're
like
from
that. I like
Scotland,
that
aren't
word.
you?
I'm a pretty clean living
Irish.
guy. I don't do drugs except for alcohol and coffee. But when I was there watching your gig in Besarabia, the combination of the low lighting conditions, the neon Pokemon on the wall, your weird act with your mask, it kind of positioned me. I don't know. It could have been the horseradish vodka because they sell all this weird vodka there as well. But it kind of, if alcohol has ever had a kind of psychosis-inducing effect on me, it was then. I remember it's a very, very bizarre place, and it's not going to get any. We have to just describe what it is because let's face it, no one is going to find Besarabia on TripAdvisor or Booking.com.
No, I would.
Word of mouth.
I mean, yeah, there's probably like a lot of word of mouth. I believe you had a fight with someone with a chair at that gig. I have video.
Wait, Dan did?
Yeah, Dan was
Oh,
sitting
they're
in a chair. This woman was dancing, and she kept on moving the chair.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
And Dan was just.
I was annoyed by her
You're
moving
being
my
slightly
chair.
belligerent.
Interesting.
Any other Besarabia stories?
I mean, any other? I mean, we've had good times there. How did it even start? I don't even know how it started, but I just Zhenya. I just asked Zhenya.
Jenya is the manager, right?
the proprietor.
Mhm.
He's an incredible human being. He just is like super artistic, and I think he works at also the Jerusalem Theater, the B-side theater. There's like a bunch of it's like a smaller theater, and he does stuff over there. In any case, so I started playing over there, and He liked it because the Russians really dig what I do. Israelis
Interesting.
don't really get it so much, but everyone else, well, just Russians and my drunk friends.
And what is it that you do?
What is it that I do?
First of all, this musical outfit that you're playing
Yes.
at the moment is called MazGan.
MazGan, yeah. So MazGan. So when I was in Cleveland, I was in this band, and I kind of at the time I wanted to start my own band, but I didn't have anyone, so I got a loop pedal, right, to build my own music, and I started my own band with myself. It was called Virgin Lungs at the time, and I wrote a bunch of songs, and then I used to go out and play these shows with my friend Johnny Habu. Johnny Habu, shout out, Johnny Habu and the Rebel Salmon, because we were rebel because we went with the flow. And we used to do crazy shenanigans on stage. Like we'd come up with these weird. This one, okay. So the first time I wore the mask was in Kent, Ohio. We had this idea that we were going to do a wrestling match, but it was going to be a concert. So like we would be playing our songs, but they would be like, "You're stupid," blah 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 blah, and we both wore like wrestling outfits. And it was a terrible, and we had a friend holding up the numbers, you know,
Oh my
like
God,
round
that's
1,
amazing.
2, and it was terrible. It was a terrible, musically, it was a terrible gig. Performance-wise, it was incredible.
Didn't Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young write a song about that in Kent, Ohio?
Yeah, they did. Four did in Ohio.
Yeah. It was that fight that they were.
It was specifically that. The highlight of that evening was when some kid left and said, "You guys suck dick." We're like, all right, we've made an impact. We've made an impact on the youth, and that's what's important with art is to just affect people. That's been the greatest thing anyone's ever said about my art.
There's no such thing as bad feedback. So, Ellie,
So
how's that to deal with? I mean, basically being, because I was kind of asking you before, what's your repertoire of clients? What is your is it a repertoire or
what does it mean, repertoire?
a stable of clients, like just this
Clients? What are you talking about, clients?
Audience?
gig venues?
Oh yeah, so the Hebrew thing is a big deal, you know.
I guess.
Wait, so what do you do though that only Russians get it and that?
Oh, it's just being weird, I think. But I mean, listen, I played Shon Choref, which is happening this month.
Whoa.
Every Monday, which was really good. That was like a goal of mine, was to be like, let me play Shon Choref. All these motherfuckers, they think that they're blah blah blah, super artistic, and I'll wear a mask and get naked in front of people. And anyways,
So
my
Shon
ego.
Choref is a Jerusalem street music festival. Would you call it that?
It's like performance.
It's not just music?
It's not just music.
Oh, I
There's
didn't
like
know that.
performance art, and there's art installations, and it's basically just like part of the city's way of creating interesting things so that young
it's
people stay.
it's a very typical Jerusalem event. It's quite family friendly and it's not very interesting.
Wow, Dan.
But it's free.
I believe you're dystopian, man. Like, I mean,
I just had to throw that in there.
Really? You don't enjoy it?
I've been it before. It's all right.
No,
it is all right. It is all right.
I'm saying
for the
it's not a wild party, but it's a.
But I've been there, and the
street event.
music was not so family friendly. I thought it was like more.
Ellie is not a family friendly act. That has to be said firstly. So let's actually talk about nudity because we touched upon the topic.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not such a family friendly act. I sing about things. I swear, and my most popular song is a song about sex called "Sex," and I play mostly naked, half naked for the most part. But I did have to play a family friendly show once over Sukkot at Beer Bazaar, and I was like, they're like, "We want you to play." I was like, "Do you know what I do?" They're like, "Yeah, we saw your stuff on YouTube. It's great. Just play." I was like, "Okay."
They saw your stuff on YouTube. Or have you been featured on any other video sharing platforms?
Yes, it's funny you should say that, Dan.
Yeah, sure.
Zhenya made a video for me for the song "Sex," which you can find on YouTube, MazGan Sex. And basically, the premise behind it was he found all these 8-bit porn video games from the late '80s, early '90s, and put me in front of a green screen, and so it's me superimposed on 8-bit porn video games, which I think is funny, but also at the same time, like my dad, for instance, like see what happens is like I live my life, and then I get calls from my sister saying, "Ellie, what are you doing? What are you putting on Facebook?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? What's that sex video?
Yeah.
Abba's gonna see it. He's gonna lose his shit." I'm like, you know what? 32 years old. I think he doesn't have to look if he doesn't want to. And so I got a call from him later. He's like, Ellie, what's the sex video on Facebook? I'm like, well, it's not exactly a sex video. It's a song called Sex. And, just don't look at it, man. Just don't look.
We need to get back to the very important question of porn video games.
Right. Who'd have thunk? Who'd have thunk that I had no idea.
Did Atari make that? Like who?
I would have to ask Zhenya, but yes, he told me that concept and I was kind of like, I'm on the verge of like, I really, it's a good thing I'm wearing a mask. I don't necessarily want to be associated with that sort of, but at the same time I kind of do because it's I like living on the borderline and pushing limits.
Good plug.
And at the same time, he's like, Ellie, I have this great idea, 8-bit porno video games with you. And I'm like, that sounds ridiculous, but I can't wait to see it.
Do you know how how does it work? Like you're on your joystick or whatever, and
the video
and you're trying to nail the other person? How does that...
Oh, who knows? Who knows what those video games are all about?
Video games.
Can you imagine? It's probably like I want to say like masturbating with a thorn bush and then finding modern day sex toys and being like, oh, wow, this is so much more fun than the thorn bush. So much less blood. And anyways,
Eddie, that's
okay.
That's something I think is very admirable about you, that you come from a pretty traditional background. So I don't come from a traditional background, traditional religious background, but you obviously do. And you've gone on this you've gone from that path into kind of shooting porn videos in an underground Russian bar, and then kind of just being very comfortable with your parents' discomfort. How do you deal with that?
It's not really a deal. It's been going on my entire life, man. It's not a recent thing.
How do they deal with that?
So actually, my dad was just here. My dad learns Daf Yomi. Which is the tractate, the page a day. He's finished it a bunch of times. And he does this thing where he learns in the Mir Yeshiva in Mea Shearim for a week. And he came and he's going through some stuff with his parents, and it's making him like chill out a lot because he's having to deal with things, and it's like the first time he's dealing with kind of like his parents being annoying, and he's having to find it. He started like meditating. My mom's like, I was meditating. I'm like, whoa. Next thing you're going to tell me is like he's eating mushrooms and wearing Birkenstocks, man. It's like hell is freezing over. And it's great. So anyways, we had this whole conversation and he's like, listen, I just have to tell you, I hate the things that you put on Facebook. They upset me so much. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to stop doing it. He's like, I know you're not going to stop doing it, but I just have to get it out. And I was like, that you don't have to go on Facebook and look on my Facebook. He's like, I know. He's like, I do it, and then I get upset, and I tell your mother, and you know what she tells me? I was like, she tells you not to go on my Facebook page. She's like, yeah, it's my fault. I'm like, wow, this is huge. What's going on here, man? We're growing up together.
All right.
And then we go skipping.
Sounds like you have a healthy dynamic.
Thank the Lord. We things are great. But it's always I know how to push his buttons. He knows how to push my buttons. So that's not the first time, and it won't be the last. It has nothing to do with that, you know what I mean? It's just I'm just doing my thing.
It just is what it is.
It just is, yeah. It's putting your gloves in the ring. It's putting your hat on a rabbit. You just gotta swing for the mountains and the hill trees.
Truth.
Hashtag.
You've recently gone down a more spiritual path. How did you get into it? Tell us about that.
Ooh, okay. I've gotten into meditation a lot more than I ever have before, and I did a Vipassana 10-day retreat, all silent, in the tradition of Cuenca, which is kind of like the most intense version apparently that I've learned now, and I kind of like it that way. Kind of like really intense things, and so it's basically sitting for like 8 hours a day, not moving, and just following your breath, and sitting through the pain, and not talking, and eating vegan food for 10 days. And
you're not supposed to make eye contact.
No
right?
eye contact even. No eye contact even. Insane. it was kind of nice for me because I'm somewhat of an introvert, and for as much as I like people and I like performing, I don't. I like the fact that everyone's like, it's so hard not to talk to people. I'm like, that was actually my favorite part was like I don't have to look people in the eye.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, it was like 10 days. Thank God. Afterwards, I had such anxiety because everyone got like the second they started talking again, everyone started getting into their groups. You know, they're like, oh, find the people, and then I was like, oh, I'm alone on the grass. This is really painful. I didn't learn anything in these past 10 days.
You did it here in Israel?
In Israel, yeah.
At
And what is it? Kibbutz
Degania.
Yeah, one of the original OG kibbutzes.
I think it is the original.
I think that
it's disputed.
It's disputed. It's definitely it's disputed.
We live in Israel, Middle East, so
just
dispute.
Pinned it. Is that pinging? Is it pinging when you do that for people on WhatsApp? We're like, where are you?
Drop a pin.
I'm pinging.
You sound like my dad or something.
I know, I did it. I am doing that. I like doing that. I like getting into the dad mode because I am pretty ignorant about these things, but also at the same time, it's like, you know, once someone tells you about it, like, you know, it's not, you can't be that ignorant, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it's just fun to.
Wait, so tell us more about do you have a daily spiritual practice?
So after that, their whole thing is like doing an hour in the morning, doing an hour at night. Hour is a really long time. So I don't do that, but I try to do, for a while I was doing like at least 20 minutes, and then I stopped doing that, and I started going to the gym a bunch recently. Like this is like recent, and I was like, oh, gym, that's where it's at. And then I was like getting on the bus and wanting to kill everyone, and I was like, what? Where's this? You know, just like nice old ladies who are going too effing slow.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Bubby, I'm gonna push you into moving traffic. And I was like, where's this coming from? And I was like, oh, that's right, I'm neglecting my inner. Whatever it is, you know.
Work?
Yeah, my inner work. Yeah, inner work, definitely. But yeah, so I've been doing that. Highly recommended, and it's been it has bore fruits.
Yeah, you seem. I said when you came into the Ben's new studio that you seemed edgy, but you've kind of settled in. I might even be edgier. I'm just like, it's more hidden, you know.
I understand. It's okay.
All right. Well, I guess that ends that podcast. I'm just joking. We have a few more.
Oh, I was gonna say.
I have a question.
Oh, Ben has a question.
Oh, this is unprecedented.
Ben, the research assistant / sound engineer, please come to the mic.
We can get more into that.
My question is, what is your persona exactly? What is the mask? Who is MazGan?
Okay.
Yes. How did we not touch on this?
Great question, Ben.
That was Ben Wallach of benwallachmusic.com. Find him on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. No, probably not Twitter.
No, I don't do Twitter anymore, but benwallach.com.
benwallach.com.
Phenomenal bass guitarist.
Ben the bass is his name.
So anyways, to answer Ben's question, MazGan. So MazGan was birthed from, I had a Mexican wrestling mask that I put pom-poms on, and I said to myself, oh, okay, I got to figure out something to do with this. I want to do something like, there's this band called Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt is a duo band, noise rock band from Rhode Island, really great. And the drummer wears like this mask thing to whatever. And I always like bands that wear masks and stuff like that. I always thought it was fun, and to play wacky punk rock music. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna call myself MazGan, because MazGan sounded like a cool word, which means air conditioning in English. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna be MazGan, rock and roll superstar, motivational speaker.
Oh, the MazGan is the motivational speaker.
Yeah, so the whole premise of it was like going to be this, basically kind of what I did in Cleveland, where it was like performance art, but also music at the same time, and it was a way to do like everything that I do on stage. So it's like part music, part performance art, part comedy, all wrapped up to one. And then the motivational speaker thing never really happened.
Didn't take off.
I didn't take off. I tried doing it last time, but like it was like supposed to be one of those things where it's just like, Andy, you guys can do it. You guys, you know Andrew WK? You familiar with Andrew W?
I'll say
we
yes.
We like to party hard. No.
Oh, this sounds familiar. Keep
He
going.
was like big in the early 2000s. Had a album cover with blood coming out of his nose. They had to anyways, point is he was like this rock and roll dude, and then he became a motivational speaker. He's like, "Hey, you could do it. Yeah, everyone's great." And I was like, I like that. I want to do that too because it's funny and it's also true, you know?
Yeah.
So in any case,
Yeah.
So I had like my first gig, and I was put in the Jerusalem Post.
Oh my God.
with my mask, and never having performed at that point in Jerusalem, and it was just very funny. And I was like wearing like Trumpeldor clothing stuff,
right.
so it was like lederhosen and a leather jacket
I've
with
been
a cowboy
looking
hat on
for real
Jerusalem.
lederhosen for so long.
They had a pair of they were real with cowboy, and it was like, and I was on the cover of Jerusalem Post, so it was it was a highlight. And it also kind of showed like the baseline that the Jerusalem Post is kind of working with. They're like, you know.
Yeah. Who wrote that article for you?
Oh, Ariel
Hendelman.
Hendelman, yeah.
My old neighbor.
She's
Shout
great.
out.
She's great. Because I was in a bunch of bands at that time. She's like, you're in all these bands, like, I want to write a story. And part of me was like, nah, maybe now's not the time because I haven't really done anything. But at the same time, like, it may never happen, so I'll just go for it.
Wait, but you were a traveling musician with your biggest project was probably Genome, right?
So at this point it was. I went on one tour before with Johnny Habu. We went to Colorado. We went on this road trip tour, quote unquote, and like the whole thing was that we didn't really have anything planned so much. We played like a bunch of house parties, like punk dive houses, or what are they called? Yeah, punk houses. And then open mic nights. We'd go to like these comedy open mic nights. And we were listening to William Shatner's autobiography the entire time. And William Shatner's like, the secret of my success was always saying yes. So throughout the entire trip, the entire trip, we're just like, yes, yes, yes. And then the last night in Denver, we're playing this open mic night. And we play, and then these two drunk girls start talking to us. And Johnny at the time had a girlfriend. I didn't have a girlfriend. But this girl was very drunk, like beyond, at this point, what would be considered consensual, having any kind of consensual thought in her brain. And she started pinching my nipples at the bar.
She gave you a purple nurple.
She kept on twisting my nipples. And I was like, this is kind of weird, but it's kind of nice. And like, I kept on saying that to her. And then the bartender was like, she's like, I'm sure you like that. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. This is really strange, but awesome at the same time. And then the bartender was like, I guess, I don't know, he made some kind of comment about the fact that his nipples weren't being pinched or something like that. It was a really bizarre evening, and there was the one time she's like, why don't you come with me and let's go party or something like that. And I was very uncomfortable, and this was the first time that trip I said no. I was like, no. I was like, Johnny, you don't want to? He's like, you can do whatever you want. I was like, you're not helping me. All right, no, I don't want. And then we ended up in like Wyoming. I think Wyoming was like the next state or something, and I don't necessarily. Oh, that's hilarious. That's right. And in that was the Boston Marathon bombing, right? Pressure cooker. There was a pressure cooker bomb at the Boston Marathon. Remember?
But you were in Colorado.
Okay, but it was that summer.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And we had this. Our equipment was like spray painted gold and silver, and it had the Rebel Salmon symbol, which was a salmon head with a communist, with a Che Guevara hat with a mug and dove on it. Right, that was our sign. So it looked like a anti-fascist whatever. So we're in the parking lot at the Wyoming Welcome Center, or Iowa Welcome Center, and state police. I'm in the car. He's in, and Johnny's inside. State patrol come knocking on the door. They're like, "Is this your car?" Like, yeah. They're like, "Oh, are you the driver of this car?" I was like, "No." Like, we got a call that there's suspicious material in your trunk, that you may have a pressure cooker bomb in your trunk.
Uh-oh.
And we're like, "No, it's just this is just our equipment. We're in a rock band." And they're like, oh, okay, all right, because someone was like peering into our window as we slept during the night and called the state patrol saying that we had a pressure cooker bomb, like the Boston Marathon people.
All right.
And then we went to Fairfield, Iowa. Wow, that trip! We're going on such a tangent right now, but Fairfield, Iowa is in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. It's a small city, but it is the center of transcendental meditation in the United States of America. No. Yeah. And also the home of the vintage video game Hall of Fame, bringing it all back. Sort of. We could bring
video games.
Yeah, sex video games.
And rock and roll.
And we played some festival there. Yeah.
So, okay, but then I was asking you about Genome.
Oh, right. So then, so that was my first tour ever. And then, so Genome Project, joined Genome Project 2-3 years ago at this point. And that was like, so for those who don't know, Genome Project is Israel's premier livetronica band, also the only. But marketing is 9/10 of the law. Wouldn't you say DSR Holdings? Anyways, I joined that band, and they actually had like the tours, like real like venues and getting paid and stuff like that set up, and they had a whole fan base because I was second drummer in the band. So I had 2 months. They were going on tour, and they're like, "Hey man, the other drummer, he's going back to America. We need another drummer." And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it." And I had 2 months to learn all their stuff. And I was like, it was one of the first times in my life where I was like kind of stuck myself in a situation that I couldn't get out of. And I just practice, and then went on tour, and it was really cool. And we went on like 3 tours that summer. It was really intense. And sort of, it was interesting. It was an interesting experience. Yeah, we can get into it, but.
All right. Should we do the plug or?
Oh, well, we probably should mention at some point a quick sponsor message. But before we do that, maybe Ellie, be curious to know what kind of material, because you're such an interesting guy, the mask, you, Ellie, what do you like to read? What's on your bookshelf?
I've been fascinated by the Trump administration. I think that Donald Trump not only has one of the finest complexions of all the presidents of the United States, he also, I think, is the beginning to a end of the world prophecy coming into fruition. I don't know if that's helpful.
So would you say he's bringing about the Messiah?
I would say that he's playing a part. You know, the guy just doesn't give an F. In any case, a lot of people think that there's a connection between him and ancient history.
I think book that you've been reading.
I think it's just funny because this is a kind of book that could only emerge from. I'm just thinking. I first I don't know what book you're talking about, but it's the kind of thing that could only emerge from someone living in Israel, right?
I would think from Ramat Beit Shemesh.
Yeah, I would assume so. Wait, are we talking about the same book? This is a major coincidence. Are we talking about Titus to Trump?
I've heard about this book. I don't know exactly the name, but I do know that it's doing the rounds in the English-speaking community. That could ring a bell. But anyway,
I see. It's not like a prophetic thing. It's more of just like talking about the geopolitical landscape of when back then and then now, and how it's kind of the same or it's different, and it's.
History repeats itself, maybe.
It's on Amazon. You said, I think, right?
It's an ebook on Amazon. We actually used to buy ebooks as well. We didn't get into that, but
really?
I have history in ebook purchasing of.
Okay, this is good to know. Actually,
romance novels on. You couldn't imagine how many different kinds of interesting romance novel ebooks exist.
Yeah, I'm sure.
On Amazon. Let me tell you something. Writing a book is very difficult. So I've heard. I've not attempted because I don't like doing hard things.
Are you ready for your lightning round questions?
Although I'm running a marathon at the end of next month, 20th. Be there.
Oh, right, cool. The Jerusalem Marathon?
With an ambulance.
Full marathon?
We're doing a full marathon. Mind over matter. Basically, I signed up and then I went on YouTube looking for videos. How to run a marathon with no training. There's plenty of videos on there. I'm ready to go.
Amazing. That's
You're ready.
Cool.
Yes, methamphetamines apparently is the key. You can't feed your legs. No, that's not true. But the bottom line is, mind over matter, guys.
All right, so let's start with what is your biggest pet peeve? Lightning round.
Ooh, when people say you're welcome before you say thank you.
They do that in Hebrew all the time because it's bavakasha. It means please and you're welcome. It's so annoying.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your? Apparently, we've tapped onto your biggest pet peeve, possibly.
Maybe. I don't know if it's a pet peeve, but it happens in Hebrew all the time.
It seems like it's kind of condescending. Bavakasha.
Yeah.
What?
What is your favorite drug?
My favorite drug. Caffeine.
Nice answer.
Good call. You said you drink coffee out of a cocktail shaker?
No. Although I've heard that we are only getting half of the caffeine when we brew it.
48%, 52% of the caffeine. Any brewing method, doesn't matter whether we're talking about Turkish coffee, filter coffee, drink coffee, is locked up in the bean. The water only extracts 48%. That means if you consume the whole coffee grind, you will be doubling the caffeine.
Wait, you drink the coffee with the grinds?
Firstly, if anyone wants to know about the new revolutionary way to brew coffee that will turn the coffee industry on its head, they're very welcome to check out my post on Medium and on my personal website, danielrosehill.co.il. It's called if you look for cocktail shaker coffee, I think you'll find it pretty quickly. But it's on those sources. Look me up on Medium or whatever. So yes, essentially you take your coffee. So it's double the caffeine. So if you're used to 1 tablespoon, Nina's laughing, of coffee, use half. I'm telling you, this stuff's push me into like panic attack territory. If you overdose on this, it's terrible.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Shout out to one of my role models, Roland Griffiths, who used to study caffeine, but now studies psychedelic drugs.
Water, shake in the cocktail shaker, and you just drink it while the coffee's all in suspension, and I just drink that straight up.
Wow.
Yeah, it's powerful. I mean, I'm basically just giving people the key to unlock their productivity.
their bowels? I mean, like, do you have like explosive shits afterwards? That sounds like a terrible idea.
It's inappropriate for the air.
Yeah.
All right. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Just kidding.
That's a good answer.
Okay. If you were reincarnated as some plant or animal, what would it be?
I would say tortoise, but I wonder if tortoises get bored. They like live forever. They go really slow.
Potentially true.
Yeah.
Maybe the lettuce that a tortoise eats, and then I'd become a tortoise by proxy.
Mind blown.
So your friend who studies psychedelics, I mean...
Not my friend, I wish.
Oh.
Roland Griffiths.
Roland Griffiths.
He's like a 60-year-old man. Doing great. He's killing it. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery?
The lowest depth of misery is the fast express version of the 74 bus on a rainy winter's day where all the windows are closed. It's super stuffed.
Did that just happen to you?
And the driver doesn't know how to drive.
Because I too was on the 74.
No, it was not that bad, but I haven't taken buses in a long time. I take the train because I live in Kiryat Moshe, and I took a bus yesterday, and I was just like, it was in a great mood, and then just like the jostling, and then I got really angry, and I was like, whoa, I'm getting so irritable just by being jostled. Like, what's this jostling? Why am I getting so angry?
I agree. I think Jerusalem buses are very unsettling on one's psyche. Firstly, besides the whole jostling fact, they're overpacked. They're not good experiences. They're not conducive to wellness.
No.
All right.
The train, however, the train is quite nice.
Yeah, the train is such a game changer.
Yeah, I love watching people on the train. I go in the morning just staring at people, just looking sad, going to their jobs. Sometimes I'm the sad one. You know, we all take turns.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it's your turn.
Oh, what sound do you love and what sound do you hate?
Or noise.
Noise.
I like the sound like in microphones like that. Oh, some of my favorite sounds of all time is the sound of like leather shoes on like asphalt or like cement where it's like crunchy and it's like, or like horseshoes on gravel. Mm-hmm. Fucking love that sound.
Nice.
What other sound do I like?
And you are a trained audio engineer, right?
It's Foley, right? It's called Foley. And
like the catheter?
Foley? How do you know about Foley catheters?
I've seen every episode of House Annie R.
That's funny. I used to work in a medical supply warehouse, and that's how I learned about Foley catheters.
Yeah.
And colostomy bags. Oy vavoy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that was an education. You're saying what? That is what? And it collects what? Oh my God, being a human is gross.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Especially when it's outside you.
Yeah. But I'm sure that could
Sad.
be interesting once you kind of like settle in. I hope none of us ever have to experience that.
Amen. All right.
Moving on.
Last question.
Aw, these were fun.
Yeah. What turns you on besides Purple Nurples by drunk women?
I kind of wonder what would have happened but it seems like. Anyways, what turns me on? Ooh, you know what turns me on? I was watching that salt, fat,
Acid heat.
and she's eating cheese, and she eats the cheese, and she's like, "I'm gonna cry. This cheese is so good." I felt so warm and tingly when she said that. I was like, I've eaten cheese that's been that good too. That's awesome. I love people who are passionate about shit, and they're just like, "I'm gonna cry after I eat this good cheese." Like, what? You love cheese so much you're gonna cry? That's fucking amazing.
And we have one final question in the round. What is the best book you read in the last month?
I've been listening to books a lot. The Gulag Archipelago.
The Gulag Archipelago.
The Gulag Archipelago is pretty depressing, and it's kind of repetitive. It's kind of like, and then Novorossiysk got put in blah blah blah. Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. But I do have some really good like things. Atomic Habits by James Clear. That was a great one as well, if you're looking to get into habits. But I think that the most influential to my life and to my everyday existence has to be From Titus to Trump. Not only does it sound, what are those called when it's like a
alliteration?
It's not only is it a great alliteration, they actually look fairly similar. Although Trump has a body.
Cool.
Yeah, they do actually look weirdly similar.
Yeah, and you said people can find that on Amazon.com
They can
in
find
ebook
it
and paperback format.
Ebook and yeah.
Eddie, if people want to find you online, where can they go?
So I have a Facebook page. www.facebook.com / Eli Schabes. That's ELISCHAB as in boy, ES. In this country, Shabbat. We could have gotten into that as well.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
And your time in India, you actually got to have a lot of.
We have so much shit.
Rich repository of stories.
All right. Well, we'll bring you back for before.
So anyways, there and on Instagram, I got many pages. Check them out. There's Eli Schabes. Then there's dog shit of J-Town.
Oh, we didn't even get to talk about that.
Dog shit of J-Town, which is it's like Humans of New York, except that it's dog shit. No one picks it up here, so I put googly eyes on it, and each dog shit has a story. Then there is.
I didn't know that there's stories.
The stories, yeah, because it's like Humans in New York. It's dog shit of J-Town. Check it out. It's pretty gross. I thought it would go viral, but then I realized that no one wants dog shit on their feed.
But it's still going strong.
It's still going strong. Well, it's not going strong. It's going. It's the internet. It'll never die. So it's kind of.
Are you still posting to it?
No, not as much. Not at all.
Okay. Last thing is, should we? Do you have any other websites?
Yes, there's one more. The other one is called Opinions Are Like Assholes. It's opinions space R, the letter R, not A-R-E, that was taken, like assholes. And that is just illustrations of butts farting opinions. So
where is that?
That's also on Instagram.
Okay.
That's I started that about a couple of weeks ago. It's an idea I've had for a while. I just had to be the first, so I had to get it out there. I kind of stopped it. But if anyone has suggestions for opinions, it's very difficult to come up with them on the spot. So
opinions _.
Ooh, let me check it out. I'm gonna check it out because I'm not the best at really being on top of. I need someone who's really into marketing.
Nina, while Ellie's checking that out, do we have anybody to thank for this podcast?
We want to thank Yaakov Greenspan of Vermont Beit Shemesh for his generous contribution.
And if people do want to sponsor an episode themselves, we can find us online at borderlinerspod.com. I believe there's a contact form there where people can get in touch.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and tell us about your gig. When's your gig?
I have a gig November 27th at
February.
Did I say November? Man, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me.
Okay, his gig is February 27th.
We like to book in advance.
Besarabia.
I'm going on tour.
Literally make a baby and have it by then.
Yeah,
that is actually so. That sounds like a good 9-month plan.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah, February 27th. This coming Thursday. Besarabia with Mad Pill. They're a saxophone duo. A lot of fun. And it'll probably start late. Opinions _R, the letter R _ assholes on Instagram. Please like it.
All right. It's amazing that no one's taken that yet.
So someone did ARE. Someone did the
No
opinions.
way.
Yeah. I don't know what they. Let's see what kind of shit they got going
Oh,
on.
with the underscores in between too.
Well, the underscores are actually just spaces. Apparently, whenever you do a space in Instagram, are like assholes. Opinions Israel. Oh, opinions Israel. Interesting. Okay, are like. Let's look
Okay.
at it. Okay.
Dan, do you want to describe what you're seeing right now?
It's too crude.
What?
It's too crude for my taste.
What's crude? Which one? What are we talking about? America. Yeah. I just stopped. Oh, no. You know what? It's a hashtag. Oh, no. Here we go. Controversy and truth bombs. What? Really? Who's this guy? Who's this joke?
He's a joke.
Who's this joke? Oh, I don't get good service because this is a very isolated studio that we are in.
Thank you, Ben the Bass.
Thank you for listening to NPR on National
No,
Public
Public
Radio.
I think we should end here.
No, I think that would be smart. Thank you very much to Eli Schabes, to our producer and researcher, recording assistant, Ben the Bass, and again, to our episode sponsor.
Jakob Greenspan, thank you.
Borderline.